Her name was Emma. We were expecting a child. She was due in a month. The driver fled. No witnesses. The cameras weren't working. The case was closed a week later. A year passed. I went back to work. Had to keep living. Or pretend to. A strange case landed on my desk. 10 people had disappeared over the last 6 months. Killers. Predators. The kind of men the courts somehow let go. And every one of them was last seen in the same alley.
I watched the footage again and again. A man walks into the alley. A minute passes. Then something comes out. Not a person, just a shadow. Purple. Smiling. At first, I thought the camera was broken. Then I thought someone edited the tape. Then I stopped thinking about it, because that smile started showing up in my dreams.
Night. I went to that alley myself, the same one from the recording. The rain had already stopped, but the asphalt was still shining under the streetlight. I stood there and waited, not even sure for what. Then the air and the shadows started to move. First I saw the eyes, then the smile, and only after that, the rest. Gengar. He looked at me as if he had been waiting for this meeting for a long time, and said only one sentence.
I asked him about the disappearances. He didn't answer. He showed me. Night. A man walks out of his apartment building. I knew him. He left his sick mother alone in the apartment. No food, no medicine. She was dying for days. The court couldn't prove anything. He walked free. He was walking down the street, looking at his phone. Then the shadow behind him started to grow. Purple smoke. A smile. He didn't even realize what was happening. A second later, the street was empty. No scream, no trace. And that's when I understood where the ones go, that the law lets walk away.
He looked at me and smiled. You came here looking for the truth. His voice sounded indifferent. Now you know it. I said nothing. They won't hurt anyone anymore, he said. I looked at him. You call that justice? Gengar chuckled quietly. And what do you call it? When the law lets them walk away. I had no answer. Because for the first time, I wasn't sure that he was wrong.
During the day, I hunted killers. At night, I searched for the man who killed my wife. I went through old cases, names, addresses, mistakes. And slowly, I started to see another pattern. The people who disappeared almost always should have been in prison, but they weren't. Gengar started appearing more often. Sometimes he just sat there in silence. Sometimes he looked at me like he already knew everything. We almost became friends. He said, I had been looking for my wife's killer for a year, and that he could find him in a single night. I told him I wanted to do it myself. He asked, pride? I said, no, a duty to myself. He only smiled and quietly said, sometimes it's the same thing.
At first, I told myself it was justice, that they deserved it, that I wasn't killing anyone. I was only showing the way. But every night, I woke up and looked at my wife's photograph, hoping she would somehow tell me whether I was doing the right thing. she stayed silent. And somehow, that silence was worse than any words.
I found her, the killer. Not through the database, not through witnesses. Instagram. There was a car on the security footage. Rare model, rare color. So I started searching. Photos, parties. And then I saw the plate.
Oh my God,
Same car.
Stop it. That is
The mayor's
hilarious.
daughter. 19.
Are you serious?
Drunk behind the wheel. She hit my pregnant wife and drove away. Her father made the problem disappear. She's alive. And my wife and my unborn daughter are in the ground.
I showed him the photo. It was her. He said he knew. He always knew. He was just waiting for me to find her myself, because the choice had to be mine. I asked if he would take her if I asked. He said yes. But after
I
that,
cannot believe we just did
I wouldn't be
that.
able to stop.
My cheeks
First
are
her,
laughing so much.
Then those who covered it up,
Seriously, best night ever.
then those who stayed silent. And in the end, me. Later I was sitting in my car, across from her building. She came out with friends, laughing, living. Gengar was beside me. He said, "She's here. Say the word." I looked at my wife's photo, then at her, and closed my eyes.
I made my decision and said one word. Take her. He disappeared. She got into the car and drove away. A few minutes later, that smile appeared on the road. Then there was the crash and silence. Later, I was sitting at home looking at my wife's photograph, and for a moment, it seemed to me that she turned away, and a tear slowly rolled down her cheek. That's when I understood there would be no relief. I got my justice, and I became one of those I had hunted my entire life.
I opened my eyes. He was there, smiling. Was that a dream? I asked. No, it was a possible outcome. I looked at her and said, I won't ask you. Not about her, not about anyone. Because if I start deciding who deserves to die, I won't be myself anymore. Not the man my wife loved.
For the first time, I slept peacefully, no nightmares. And the next day, things started moving fast. First, an investigation, then searches, then old cases began to surface. The truth came out slowly, but it couldn't be stopped anymore. She was called in for questioning. They started closing in on him, and I realized this time it would go all the way, and I, for the first time, could breathe.
I never saw him again. He never came back. Maybe I made the right choice. But sometimes I still feel him near. When I think about that moment, that crossroads, where any choice changes you forever.